Happening now, we break down the unseen costs of free firefighter hires in Jamestown as the need for more first responders hits an all-time high, and what we know about this major marijuana bust in Fredonia. Plus, there's a new strand of COVID-19 mimicking pink eye. This as allergy season hits its peak.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Those stories and more are coming up, but first, an unforeseen financial burden has complicated the hiring of new firefighters here in Jamestown, whose salaries are funded as part of a $1 million grant. Bronson Rasmussen joins us live from the newsroom with more on the new hurdle in front of this proposed hiring. Bronson?
Justin, during Monday's City Council meeting, lawmakers spent hours discussing financial impacts of hiring 8 new firefighters, paid for by a $1.8 million FEMA grant. Now, Jamestown City Council members are worried about the unseen costs not covered by the allocation.
These numbers do not include any overtime at all. They do not include comp time sellback or any kind of impact pay or other forms of compensation from what I'm seeing. These are assuming that these firefighters do not work a single hour of overtime in 36 months, which is unrealistic.
The former first responder turned councilman goes on to say if the additional hires are approved and the federal funds are not renewed, it would ultimately cost the city millions of dollars.
It's financially reckless to think that we can add $3.6 million into our budget. I would love more firefighters. I would love more police officers. But it comes down to what can this community and what can our taxpayers afford?
Harking back to his time working with Jamestown Police, Russell knows the life-shattering news that being laid off can be.
Our budget can't handle this increase. And if we don't get this grant renewed in 36 months, pink slips are going to be handed out. People will be laid off.
Due to federal regulations, lawmakers cannot raise taxes to fill gaps.
Even if we wanted to add $3 million to our budget, we can't legally do it.
Another crucial point brought up is if the city of Jamestown moves forward and purchases an additional ambulance, the fire department will need the new hires to operate it. And on Wednesday, we'll dive deeper into the debate for the EMS improvements. Rasmussen, WNY News Now.
All right, Bronson, we'll be looking forward to your part 2 tomorrow right here on the show. Thank you for that. Around 750 pounds of marijuana was discovered inside of a tractor trailer involved in a vehicle accident in Chautauqua County. On Monday, police were dispatched to the Fredonia Walmart to investigate a vehicle accident involving the semi, which was damaged when the truck struck an overpass. Now, as the driver climbed to the top of his trailer to review damage, he discovered a large amount of packaged marijuana visible after the top of the trailer peeled back. And the truck driver later contacted Fredonia police to report his findings. Investigators observed a strong odor of marijuana from the trailer and later recovered the drug, which was processed and packaged for shipment. Now, police report that several storage totes were damaged in the accident, and marijuana spilled on the top of the cargo and on the ground as investigators used a crane to remove the boxes as evidence. It is unclear who concealed the marijuana within the truck. The Southern Tier Regional Drug Task Force and Drug Enforcement Agency is assisting Fredonia Police as part of their ongoing investigation. While now climbing to the exterior of the trailer, the truck's driver was injured. He cut his hand. He's since been treated by Fredonia Fire Department for that injury. An investigation continues to determine what sparked a residential fire in Chautauqua County. On Monday night around 11:20 p.m., the Sherman Fire Department and several other agencies for mutual aid responded to an address on Route 430 in the town of Chautauqua. Well, as the residential structure fire was extinguished, the Chautauqua County Fire Investigation Team then responded, and they determined the fire's cause and origin. Through investigation, investigators say that the fire started on the second floor of that home. However, officials say a cause of that fire is still unknown at this time. Well, with volunteerism at an all-time low, fire departments across Chautauqua County, they are raising awareness about the importance of recruiting new members. Our Alyssa Wright has more from one local fire department.
When you pick up the phone and dial 911 in Chautauqua County, a fast response generally follows. Unfortunately, with manpower at an all-time low, local volunteer fire departments are stretched thin.
Our manpower we have now, we're sitting at about 52 members. On a EMS call, we get 5 or 6 members to show up occasionally, depending on the time of day. It affects the department with responses, response time.
Faulkner Fire Chief Bryce Webster is highlighting the vital need for volunteers.
Every seat filled when the truck goes out the door, enough manpower to relieve the crews after 10-15 minutes of work, cycle through different personnel and keep everybody active and keep everybody safe.
The department is among those taking part in Recruit NY this Saturday, hosting a Firehouse Flapjacks open house to not just enjoy pancakes.
We have a pancake breakfast on Saturday. It's for Recruit New York. It's a statewide effort. Volunteer departments, there's 42 in the county. Each department does a different thing. We're going to do some drills, some technical rescue things down here and just kind of show off what we do.
The chief has been with the department for over 3 decades, and for a good reason.
Serving the community, it's kind of self-worth being here to serve the community, to do something right, and it's a family here. I mean, you can't leave a family.
The department acknowledges there is a job for everyone interested in joining ranks, from EMS to firefighting to pump operators. To learn more about the Faulkner Fire Department, visit their Facebook page. Alyssa Wright, WNY News Now.
All right, Alyssa, thank you very much. Let's now switch gears and get a first check of our weather forecast. Chief Weather Forecaster Andrew Stevenson joining us. And today, Andrew, not the best weather day that we've seen in the last week or so, as some snow has returned to our area.
You know, I was looking at this camera about 5 minutes ago. There was these huge, giant, wet snowflakes falling in Lakeside Park in Mayville. Right now, it's cloudy over Mayville, but we'll have those wet snowflakes throughout the day today. It's showing up on First Defense Doppler radar. Some rain showers out there, even some wet snowflakes moving in, and there's even a couple of breaks in the clouds, and that's going to be the forecast for the rest of the afternoon. But there is some good news on the way, which I'll tell you about a little bit later on. Yesterday, we made it to a high of 44 degrees, which is well below our average of 58 degrees. The low yesterday was 33, and we're nowhere near the record of 85 set back in 2002 and a record low of 20 degrees set back in 1926. So here's the forecast for the afternoon. Mainly cloudy skies out there, a mix of rain and snow showers, maybe a dust into an inch of snow on the highest hilltops, an unseasonably chilly day with a west wind of 15 to 20 miles per hour. Highs today only in the mid to upper 30s, might not even make it to 40. But there is some good news on the way. Warmer weather will return by the end of the week, and I'll have those details coming up in the full forecast in just a few minutes.
That's great to hear, Andrew. Thank you very much. As WNY News Now continues, we get an update on the New York State's budget battle in Albany. And later, COVID-19 and pink eye? Yeah, we explain this new strain of coronavirus and how health experts feel about the risks of it here locally. Stay with us.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
Have you ever wanted to live out your dreams? Hunt, fish, in all corners of the earth? Well, now's your chance. Follow Primitive Patriot Outdoors as we live out our dreams and show you how to live out yours through outdoor adventures. From Western New York to Africa to all corners of the earth, follow us on this adventure. It's an experience you've never seen before. Lead and Lures, Roku TV, Channel 716.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
A 65-year-old man is facing murder charges after he allegedly shot and killed a woman who authorities say accidentally turned into his driveway. This happened on Saturday in Herban, a rural town in upstate New York. The Washington County Sheriff's Office have charged Kevin Mahan with second-degree murder in the death of Caitlin Giles. Investigators say she and 3 other people accidentally turned into Mahan's driveway while looking for a friend's home. Washington County Sheriff Jeffrey Murphy says Mahan fired 2 shots from his front porch. 1 bullet killed Giles. She was just 20 years old. Mahan is currently jailed and will have a court appearance in the coming days. Well, on Monday, the New York State Senate, they considered Governor Kathy Hochul's new nomination for Chief Judge of the Court of Appeals. After a 3-hour confirmation hearing, the Senate advanced the judge's nomination to the floor. Now, following the rejection of Governor Hochul's first Chief Judge nomination earlier in the year, Hochul's new nomination of Judge Juan Wilson was met with strong support among Democratic leadership during this confirmation hearing. Wilson has served on the Court of Appeals as an associate judge since 2017. In his opening statement, he says he would bring his years of experience and love of law to the Chief Justice role.
I understand the position of Chief Judge requires love of the law, honesty, open-mindedness, and tireless devotion. That is the essence of what I have to offer.
Now, throughout his confirmation hearing, lawmakers questioned Judge Wilson about his previous prosecutions. If confirmed by the full Senate, Wilson would be the first black man to lead the courts here in New York. Lawmakers are expected to vote on his nomination Tuesday on the Senate floor. And also, lawmakers in New York, they passed a 3-day budget extension yesterday to ensure state operations continue undisrupted as negotiations over their spending plan continues. The budget was originally due back on April 1st. Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul and lawmakers missed that deadline as they worked to reach an agreement on the changes to the state's bail law, a housing plan, and other policy issues that the governor had included in her proposed budget. Now, a sticking point has been Hochul's proposed changes that would give judges more discretion on setting bail for violent felonies. Now, liberal lawmakers have resisted further changes to the bail law. Now, this was the 3rd temporary budget extension approved by state lawmakers. Some lawmakers expressed frustration at the holdup on a final budget. Well, a new COVID variant is quickly making its way across India, and there's fear it could spread to other countries. It's a subvariant of Omicron called Arcturus, but health officials are keeping their eyes on a new symptom. WNY News Now's Elspeth Meisner reports on what the new symptoms are and how concerned we should be.
A new subvariant of COVID-19 is making its way across the globe and here in the United States. It's called Arcturus, and health experts say people should be more concerned with the new symptom than the new variant.
It's not causing increased deaths, severe illness, hospitalizations. And you might know you have it because more people with this specific subvariant are getting pink eye.
Medical professionals say conjunctivitis or pink eye can be caused by bacterial or viral infections.
There are lots of causes to pink eye. So everything from Zika virus to now a subvariant of Omicron to bacteria and other, lesser known viruses can cause those conjunctivitis, pink eye, itchy eye.
Meantime, Dr. Graham Snyder of UPMC says more research needs done to see if this could become a new common symptom to keep an eye out for.
This isn't the first time that conjunctivitis has been described with the SARS-CoV-2 virus that causes COVID-19. So we have a little bit more to learn about whether or not this is a prominent symptom, something that happens sometimes or a symptom that is not associated with this variant at all.
We are in the midst of allergy season, so how do you know if your red, itchy, and watery eyes are symptoms of allergies or COVID-19? Dr. Dawson says there's a few other symptoms to be aware of.
If you have high fever and the pink goopy eyes, more than likely it's Omicron.
Symptoms with COVID vary from person to person, which is why doctors stress the importance of getting tested.
COVID-19 can present with an array of different symptoms. In some people, it can be cough and a runny nose. In some people, it's primarily the runny nose or a sore throat. Conjunctivitis has always been a little part of the mix. It's important to get tested for COVID.
Elspeth Meisner, Erie News Now.
Elspeth, thank you. When it comes to pink eye and COVID-19, health professionals say it's the best practice to have good hygiene, especially when considering matters of your eyes. It could be touching your eyes or maybe touching your eyes and other things and then back to your eyes. Well, in the wake of a federal judge in Texas revisiting FDA approval of the abortion pill mifepristone, there are many questions and concerns, especially for those seeking an abortion. To alleviate some of the uncertainty, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's administration, they launched a new website last week for individuals seeking abortion in the Commonwealth. The site provides resources, locations, and details on plans and payment options for abortions in response to the ruling. However, some Republican lawmakers, they're questioning whether the dollars used to create this website are a legal expenditure. Under the state's Abortion Control Act, no public money is allowed for abortion-related care. Now, in a recent budget hearing, some lawmakers pressed members of the administration about the website.
Do you believe that this would apply here as state money is being used to direct women to abortion-related services only?
I believe the site is being used to provide information to the citizens of the Commonwealth, no different than we use websites to provide all kinds of information to citizens of the Commonwealth.
Now, the governor's office says it's a typical role of their office to set up and compile resources for residents in response to statewide or national issues like the Texas mifepristone ruling. Well, coming up, our Washington, D.C. correspondent is hearing from protesters who traveled to our nation capital, rallying for more gun safety measures. And later, do not disturb. We outline important tips to know if you want to hang up on scam calls. But first, Andrew returns with a full look at our weather forecast. Stay with us.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
On this episode of Lead and Lures, pro staffer and lethal lady Caitlin Armstrong takes out her big Ohio buck. Months of hard work, dedication, and scouting have led her to this moment. You're not going to want to miss this episode of Lead and Lures on Channel 716 Roku TV. And if you want to see more of Caitlin Armstrong, follow her on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram.
You know,
at
hunting
Caitlin
on
Armstrong.
private land has been quite the experience.
Slow down. Slow down and move over. Move over.
When you see signs,
Lights. Vests.
please give us some room.
Slow down. Slow down and move over. When you need help,
It's our job
to help you.
to save you.
Despite the danger.
This danger.
This danger is real. Do your part.
Please
Slow down. Slow down. And move over.
move over.
Fast, accurate, and every day. First Defense Weather.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. Currently in downtown Jamestown, we're under cloudy skies. 34 degrees is the current temperature to Jamestown Airport with a west wind of 21 miles per hour, a wind gust of 29, and that's making it feel like 22 degrees out there with the wind chill. Well, we are into spring and it is allergy season, so if you're noticing your allergies, the culprit is tree pollen, and these numbers come courtesy of Dr. Fred Lewis from the Oleon Medical Group. So if your allergies are acting up, that's courtesy of the trees, which is in the high category. Everything else is in the low category to non-existent. Well, we do have some warmer temperatures on the way on average, so if you don't like the snow, and there's some good news. The average high today should be about 58 degrees, although we will be nowhere near that. This time next month, the average high is 70 degrees. We get into June, and the average high is 77. By the time we get to July, the average high is 81 degrees. So on average, warmer days and summer are ahead of us. Here's what's happening across the Northeast right now. Low pressure system, which is hiding behind the banner up in Canada, that continues to provide rain and snow showers across the region through the rest of the day in this cold air, but high pressure will begin to build in later tonight, and that will dry us out for tomorrow. So let's time it out on future scan. Through the rest of the afternoon out there, snow showers mixing with rain showers at times, just a pretty yucky day out there, but high pressure will begin to build in tonight, and that will put an end to those snow showers overnight. And we should start the day tomorrow with some clouds out there, but we should go partly to mostly sunny skies through the rest of the afternoon, with temperatures make it into the mid-50s. And then a warm front is going to push through the region starting Wednesday night. That might bring in a couple of rain showers Wednesday night into early Thursday, while also really warming the temperatures up as we head into Thursday, as the warm front will stall out across the region. So here's the extended forecast powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. Increased in sunshine tomorrow with temperatures in the mid-50s. We should go mid to upper 70s on Thursday, but that warm front's going to stall out across western New York. That means areas to the north of that warm front will be cooler with temperatures in the 60s, while areas down here in the southern tier, northwestern Pennsylvania, making the mid-70s close to 80. We'll bring in a couple more showers on Friday, still temperatures in the mid-70s. Newer model runs are pushing a cold front later on Saturday, so most of the day on Saturday should be dry and warm before a cold front moves through Saturday night into Sunday. Now we'll bring temperatures back down to the 40s for Sunday and into Monday of next week.
All right, Andrew, thank you very much. Well, let's get some headlines now from around the nation. And more information is out regarding the Akron police officers involved in the 2022 shooting of Jalen Walker. Documents from the Ohio Attorney General's office say the length of police service of the 8 officers who shot at Walker ranged from 2.5 years to 6 years. 4 of the officers also previously served in the military. Earlier this week, a special grand jury declined to indict the officers, whose identities have not been released for security concerns. According to the grand jury, the officers were justified with their use of force. The 25-year-old Walker was fatally shot on June 27, 2022, following a police chase. Well, Monday in our nation's capital, organizers and activists, they marched for our lives, a group that was created following the Parkland, Florida school shooting. Advocates pushed for an assault weapons ban. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent followed that group on their march and has more.
Marching towards our nation's Capitol building, activists with the group March for Our Lives makes it clear what they're pushing for. According to the Gun Violence Archive, an organization that tracks gun violence incidents, there have been 163 mass shootings so far this year.
My entire life has been affected by this. Like my whole school career, there was a lockdown drill, and when you're 5 years old, it's hard to tell if it's real or if it's just a drill. And so to think that I'm now in law school, I've come all of that way, and it's still an issue and we still have to be here, that is just devastating.
Following the Uvalde, Texas school shooting and the Buffalo grocery store shooting, Congress passed gun control legislation, but that legislation did not include a ban on assault-style weapons. Activists hope Congress takes up that issue.
But I was a teacher before I was a law student, and I think that it's horrific that every day I walked into my classroom, I was scared that there was somebody who was going to come in and try and hurt my kids.
When our students have to be identified by their DNA, that there's nothing left recognizable because weapons of war are sold on the streets in Walmart to people who should not have weapons due to background checks.
This former teacher says she used to work in a school district where a 6-year-old shot his teacher and knows people who worked at Virginia Tech during that shooting years ago. She wants the gun violence to end.
I'm tired of this. Do something.
In Washington, D.C., Rachel Knapp reporting.
The Supreme Court is set to take on a major religious liberty dispute. On Tuesday, justices will hear an appeal that could ultimately clarify how far companies must go to accommodate their religious employees' beliefs. The case centers on a U.S. postal worker in Pennsylvania who requested not to work Sundays because of his Christian beliefs. Well, the Postal Service, they tried to accommodate him, but they couldn't find a solution. So he sued under Title VII, a federal rule that makes it unlawful to discriminate against an employee based on his religion. A district judge ruled against him, finding his request would cause undue hardship for the Postal Service. A Third Circuit Court of Appeals affirmed that ruling, so now it's headed to the Supreme Court for further discussion. Well, coming up next, scam calls and new technology. They're causing headaches for many across our region. We're hearing from those with the Better Business Bureau and how you can deal with this.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job. I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working. I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this. You will find something.
You will find something new.
Have you ever wanted to live out your dreams? Hunt, fish, in all corners of the earth? Well, now's your chance. Follow Primitive Patriot Outdoors as we live out our dreams and show you how to live out yours through outdoor adventures. From Western New York to Africa to all corners of the earth, follow us on this adventure. It's an experience you've never seen before. Lead and Lures, Roku TV, channel 716.
As if scam calls aren't already annoying enough, there are now scam texts and artificial intelligence voice throwing a wrench into the mix too. Erie News Now's Marissa Thomas caught up with one woman to hear her frustrations with scammers and also with the Better Business Bureau to give us some tips.
From the IRS to the government or a service provider, chances are you've gotten a call like this.
Our file shows we have some good news about your past taxes.
Lucia Dunsmore received an offer to cut down her cable bill if only she paid over the phone right there and then.
And as soon as he said that, I realized it was a scam, so I hung up.
And it's not the first time someone's called Dunsmore pretending to be someone they're not.
The one before that was, "Grandma, this is your oldest granddaughter, and I'm in desperate need. I had an accident." I said, "Okay, which one?" I have 10 granddaughters. Of course, I only have one. And she gave me a name. I said, "Gee, I don't have that one." Click. You know, they give you a sad story. How many fall for it?
The Federal Trade Commission says there's 2.4 million fraud reports and a loss of $8.8 billion in 2022. With advancing technology, it's now possible to clone voices using AI, making phone call scams more believable.
So think the types of phishing scams that we have all seen, but more sophisticated because now you're going to get a phone call from somebody that sounds like somebody you know.
Caitlin Driscoll with the Better Business Bureau says impersonation scams are the most common, and those 65 and up are the ones who more often lose money from them.
Don't automatically trust your caller ID either, because scammers can spoof caller ID to have it appear that a company's legitimate customer service number is contacting you, or even just a name like the FBI coming across your caller ID screen.
Marissa Thomas, Erie News Now.
Now, very rarely will the government contact you over the phone, and for utility companies, the recommendation is to contact them with a verified number. Be sure not to give out any personal information, from passwords to financial data. You can learn more on where to report a suspected scammer on our website, WNYNewsNow.com. Well, that's going to do it for us today. We'll leave you with this live look over Lakeside Park. in the village of Mayville. The news continues on our free mobile app and at WNYNewsNow.com. Have a great day.